Hi there, Sifu Anthony here, and in this video I want to talk to you about Kung Fu versus Qigong. Now I think a video works better for this because I'm going to demonstrate some of the visual differences and also talk about the deeper differences between these two arts, because surprisingly there is a lot of confusion. So first of all, let's talk about Kung Fu because it's a confusing term to a lot of people. It really shouldn't be. It's one of the many Chinese terms that exist to call what we would call martial arts. Now, we're specifically talking about Chinese martial arts, but Kung Fu is one term. Yes, technically, the translation of Kung Fu means hard work over time, and then the real translation is skill. But these days, and for a while, it's synonymous with martial arts. Another term that really means the same thing as Kung Fu is Chuan. So we see that at the end of Tai Chi Chuan, sometimes spelled C-H-U-A-N, sometimes spelled Q-U-A-N. Both of them refer to the same Chinese character, and the character really means fist, but that's just the literal translation. It actually refers to an older phrase called that was pronounced Chuan Fa. So that was really fist art, or the art of the fist, which just again means martial arts. Throughout the long, long history of Chinese martial arts, there have been many terms. So, we have to choose something for the modern terminology. Lately, the latest term is wushu, which technically means martial art. It's actually a closer meaning, but really, most people who practice traditional Chinese martial arts view wushu as the competitive side, the demonstrative side, the pretty side of Kung Fu. So wushu competitions, for example, they're very pretty forms that aren't not necessarily functional. They are based on traditional functional forms, but they're just sort of made to be more acrobatic and prettier. So we've got a lot of terms there: Kung Fu, Chuan, Chuan Fa, which is the same as Chuan. We've got Wushu. There's even more historically, like Wu Yi and a bunch of other ones. But for our purposes, the two main terms we'll see will be Chuan and Kung Fu. Now, what you need to understand is that there are many different styles of Kung Fu. And what we know as Tai Chi is just one style. And in fact, there are many sub-styles of Tai Chi as well. So we have the Yang style and the Wu style and the Chun style of Tai Chi. All of those are still just styles of Kung Fu. Now, what are some other styles of Kung Fu? Well, we have Shaolin Kung Fu, for example, maybe the birthplace of systematized martial arts. There was martial arts before that, of course, but systematized martial arts probably all came from the Shaolin Temple. But we have Northern and Southern Shaolin Kung Fu. We have Wing Chun Kung Fu. We have animal styles like praying mantis Kung Fu or the 5 animal styles of Kung Fu. So all of these are styles of Kung Fu, and they're characteristically different. And all of them are martial arts with different strategies and tactics, different striking techniques, right? So for example, the Shaolin 5 animals, we've got the tiger, using a tiger claw, or using a punch, right? So those are obvious. Those are obviously martial arts forms. We have the softness of the snake. So those are pretty obviously martial arts techniques. The crane. The way that it's done, it's pretty obvious that it's a martial art. So that's Shaolin 5 animals. Wing Chun Kung Fu is very popular these days. It's known for much shorter techniques, but there's no doubt, nobody ever questions whether or not Wing Chun is a martial art. It's so obviously a martial art. But then things get confusing once we start talking about Tai Chi. So here, let's simplify it. All schools of Tai Chi originally were martial arts. If they've changed over the last 100 years or so, or even less. And they've become, what some people view as Tai Chi, which is just this slow motion health exercise that people do in the park, right? But the moves themselves are martial. And that's the dividing line between medical Qigong and health Qigong and Kung Fu, including Tai Chi. So although in Tai Chi we have these moves that are very soft and beautiful, each one is a martial arts move. They may not look like a punch or a kick or a grab or a lock, but that's exactly what they are. You just have to have a deep understanding of martial arts to know how to apply them. Tai Chi, or properly called Tai Ji Chuan, is a sophisticated, soft style of martial art. That means it's characteristically soft and flowing. And in fact, that was one of the major developments with Tai Chi compared to something like Shaolin Kung Fu, which is much more hut, hut. Don't get me wrong, I love Shaolin Kung Fu, but the movements are more distinct, right? You can see each move, right? Each move is individual. Whereas with Tai Chi, the movements flow into each other. So a comparison that I make is between block writing and cursive writing. Most martial arts that we're used to deal with more block kind of writing. Some are smoother than others, but it's still kind of distinct letters. Whereas Tai Chi Chuan, or Tai Chi, is cursive writing. The moves flow right into each other. Each letter flows into the next letter. So unless you have a good understanding of martial arts, it can be hard to figure out which move is which and whether or not it's a martial arts technique. But there's no question that it is. Now, let's compare that to some just basic health Qigong exercises like lifting the sky. Now, as I often joke, lifting the sky is great for martial artists, it's great for your health, but it's not some sort of secret martial arts technique, right? You're not like, hey! You're not like striking somebody with lifting the sky. There's no martial function in the form itself. The same thing is actually true of some power training methods that we find in Qigong. So these are Qigong exercises to cultivate internal strength or internal power. So an obvious example would be something like Golden Bridge, which is it's an energy technique. It's a Qigong exercise to build Qi throughout the whole body and especially along the forearms. But you're not gonna, please do not fight like this. Hey, hi, I know Kung Fu. No, please do not. That is not what the technique is for. The technique is to cultivate the energy in a way that happens to be useful for martial artists, but it's not a martial arts function in that one. Now, the line gets blurred further because you do have some techniques, some Qigong techniques that are martial. So an example would be One Finger Zen, which is actually very similar. So here we have exercises that drive the Qi to certain Kung Fu moves. And yeah, okay, now we're getting a little bit closer to the martial arts, and those hand forms have martial function, but the stance like that, you're not going to face somebody and fight like that. For the most part, most of the Qigong that we see, things like lifting the sky or shooting arrows, even shooting arrows, it's not martial. This is designed for health and vitality. It looks a little bit like a martial art. It could be good for martial arts, sure, absolutely. Any martial art, though. That could be karate, something totally unrelated to Qigong and the Chinese martial arts, but it's not a martial arts itself. Okay, so is that distinction becoming clear? A lot of the Qigong, I would say most of the Qigong that I teach is not martial. It's not, the moves themselves are not martial. If they're good for martial arts, they're also good for your golf game and good for health and good for longevity and vitality. So they are not specifically martial arts moves, whereas Tai Chi moves are. So I hope that makes things a little bit clearer. I just wanted to shoot a quick video to sort of demonstrate and show you some of the differences between Kung Fu and Qigong. And I hope you find this helpful somehow. Sifu Anthony signing off.